Hello and welcome to the HR Kyle podcast, the ultimate resource for HR insights and guidance that will empower both seasoned business professionals and eager job seekers. I'm HR Kyle, your host. I'm excited to embark on this journey with you. In each episode, we'll delve into the intricacies of HR management, uncovering strategies that can transform the way you approach talent acquisition, employee engagement, and workplace dynamics. Whether you're a seasoned HR pro navigating the ever-evolving landscape of human resources or a job seeker striving to land your dream position, this podcast is your compass. Our mission is simple: to provide you with actionable knowledge, expert interviews, and inspiring stories that will help you thrive in the world of HR. So, sit back, relax, and get ready to take your HR game to the next level. Welcome to the HR Kyle podcast, where HR meets success. Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the HR Kyle podcast. I'm your host, HR Kyle. And in today's show, we're going to delve into the keys to conducting effective meetings. That's our first segment. Following that, segment 2, we've got an exciting interview with a guest all the way from Kenya, sharing her international experience with our audience. But before we dive into all that, let's take a brief break. Stay tuned. Are you a business owner looking to build a thriving team? Or perhaps a job seeker on a quest for your dream career? Look no further than HR Kyle. HR Kyle is your trusted partner for all things human resources. We're not just about services, we're about success. For businesses, HR Kyle offers tailored HR solutions from talent acquisition to compliance support. We're here to help your team flourish. And for the job seekers, HR Kyle provides personalized career guidance and direction that only a seasoned HR professional can offer. We'll help you find that perfect job match. Don't settle for less. Choose HR Kyle and unlock success today. Visit us at www.hrkyle.com. HR Kyle, unlocking potential, empowering careers, transforming business. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that short break. Now let's dive into our first segment today, where we'll explore the keys to conducting effective meetings. Now, whether you're leading a team or participating in discussions, these insights will help you make the most of your meeting experiences. And as I tell you each week, this is a topic that I've gotten a lot of requests for in the past. So that's what's driving me to talk with you about it today. But on top of that, it's going to move pretty quickly. And I realize that. I need you to realize that because there's a lot of material to cover and it's a short period of time. But what this will allow you to do is reach out to me, and we can certainly take all the time we need to talk about this topic further. But without any delay, let's dive into it today. So conducting effective meetings. As I tell you with every presentation, and I'm also going to talk about it today with this, you need to understand the whys. So why are we talking about conducting effective meetings? First off, if you've ever sat through a terrible meeting, you know why we're talking about it. But beyond that, I've got some data for you. Organizations, and this is from a source called Zippia.com, and I trust this source as far as the information they've gathered. But according to this, organizations spend roughly 15% of their time in meetings. Okay, so think about how that impacts your payroll, 15%. So for a 40-hour employee, that's 6 hours of meetings in a given week. 71% of those meetings, 71, are considered unproductive. Okay, so we just said it's 6 hours in a week, and we've just said 71% of that is unproductive. So well over 4 hours of that 6 is unproductive time. You've wasted. You've still paid the salary, you've still paid the benefits, all those other things, and you've gotten nothing productive from that meeting. 11% of the meetings are considered productive. So you've got another 18% that's in no man's land there, where we're really not sure if it was productive or unproductive. And in this case, my guess would be if we're saying we're not sure, that probably means that it was unproductive. So the number could be as great as 89% of meetings are unproductive. So let's make this into real dollars. So for an employee making $50,000 a year, that means you've lost in a given year $7,500 of productivity. Let's carry that further though, because that's just one employee. Let's say you've got an organization of 80 employees and you've got that loss there. That means in a given year, you've lost $600,000 in productivity. Imagine your organization and being able to add $600,000 to the bottom line. That's what we're talking about here today. These are real dollars. Here's some other research that we've looked up relative to meetings, and I think it has a good bearing on this discussion today. And this is from a publication called Small Group Research. A particular study came out in 2012, and the title of the study is Meetings Matter: Effects of Team Meetings on Team and Organizational Success. So here's some figures to think about here. Effective meetings can trigger higher team productivity and organizational success up to 2.5 years later. And I've had people question that. Come on, at 2.5 years, think about it this way. If you're discussing things that impact that business in a positive way, or they impact sales or revenue or expenses, or you're talking about a new product that you're wanting to roll out, it absolutely would carry over for 2.5 years. That's how impactful a productive meeting can be. Productive meetings improve personal productivity by 55%, according to this study. So these are productive meetings we're talking about. Meetings where the meeting dissatisfaction and ineffectiveness, here's what they look like. Here's what the survey said. They're full of overanalyzing, describing problems versus problem solving, losing train of thought in details and examples. So the meeting just trails off into different directions without any clear direction. And there's no interest in change statements, right? So it's not attached to a purpose. You're just simply meeting for the sake of meeting. So that's dissatisfaction, that's ineffective meetings. So let's pivot and let's talk about what a meeting that people are satisfied with and regard as effective. It has a problem-solving approach. There's action planning. So in other words, when we leave this meeting, these are the things we need to do. It has a positive tone, right? How many times have you been in a meeting where it's just totally negative? You leave that meeting and you feel completely disenfranchised. That's not going to lead to success. We know that. So these effective meetings, they have a positive feel to them. Procedural. And I've been with organizations and I know these circumstances to where leaders of these meetings think, gosh, we're too buttoned down, we're too formal, we're too structured, that stymies ideas and so on. That's not true. The research tells us otherwise. Research that have a procedural structure are regarded as effective, and meeting attendees are satisfied. And then finally, proactive communication, right? So communication that tells you when and where the meeting is, how you can be prepared, who's going to be there, what the topic is, all these things that we're going to talk about here in a moment. This research tells us that that's an effective meeting. So let's talk about the qualities of an effective meeting. Number one, it has a meeting leader. The meeting has an identified leader. Typically, that's the person who's called the meeting or somebody who's called on behalf of this person. But again, it's clear who the leader is. And here's the other thing I would say here. That person embraces that role. I'm sure any number of us have attended a meeting, someone has called the meeting, you get there, and it's just not clear who the meeting leader is, or that person is hesitant to take the lead for whatever reason. Effective meetings have a leader. That person embraces that role. We're going to talk about what embracing their role looks like. Number two, the leader keeps participants focused and engaged. Remember we talked about earlier, ineffective meetings. It trails off into this direction or goes off on this tangent. Ineffective meeting. Our effective meetings, the leader owns it, and they keep the participants focused and engaged, right? So no one's on a laptop or a cell phone. There's not side conversations happening. There's not someone in the meeting that's allowed to hijack the meeting. And I think if you think of that term, you know exactly what I'm talking about there. The meeting leader addresses these issues when they come up. They're going to redirect the conversation. If it's something that's taking us off on a tangent, they're going to ask that we park that item and talk about it later, possibly in another meeting. And they also ensure that everybody's following the ground rules. So what are those? Your meeting starts on time. It ends on time. You're making sure everyone is participating. Open, honest communication, but it's also respectful. You can have debate and disagreement, but everyone respects everyone else. That's the leader keeping everyone focused and engaged in the meeting. Number 3, has a stated purpose. Gosh, if you're going to meet, if you're going to take these people away from their jobs and have them sit in a conference room or whatever you're doing, please have a stated purpose for why you're meeting. How are you going to know if the meeting's effective if you don't even know the purpose of having the meeting? Now, this stated purpose, a lot of this falls on the responsibility of the meeting leader. So the meeting leader is asking themselves, what result am I seeking by having this meeting? Because that's going to direct your purpose. They're going to kick off the meeting so everyone's clear on this by saying the goal of this meeting is, and whatever that purpose is. So that's going to guide the discussion. It tells everyone why they're there. It helps to set the goals and so on. Have to have a stated purpose. It tells you who's going to be in the meeting, keeps the discussion focused. It cuts down on unnecessary meetings, keeps morale up. This is a big one. I think we all can relate to this one. You start getting bogged down in these meetings that are not effective. You don't know why you're there. You're certainly not leaving there saying, gosh, I feel so engaged after this waste of my time. The other thing a stated purpose does is it focuses more on the purpose than emotion. Because as we know, some of these topics that we might be talking about stir up emotions. But if you make it clear to everybody in the room why they're there and what the purpose of the meeting is and the goal, it helps to keep the emotional side at least somewhat under control. Here's another one. And again, this is in no particular order, this list, but geez, have an agenda. Have an agenda. Make sure everyone has that agenda so you know what you're going to be talking about, and then they're going to know in advance. It's owned by the meeting leader, so let's make no mistake about that. But they can get input from others, previous meetings, project timeline, emails. Something's informing that agenda, but please make sure you have one. It expands on the stated purpose. So we talked a moment ago that the meeting has to have a purpose. So this is going to expand on that. It's going to talk about all the things or list all the things that we're going to talk about. Send it out at least 24 hours in advance, if not more. Okay, if you've got pre-reads or something that needs to be reviewed ahead of time, please send those out along with that agenda. And always include a review of action items at the end. So at the end of that meeting, take a minute and say, these are the things that we talked about. These are the things that we agreed upon. Okay, and I don't think I need to tell you the benefits of doing that. I hope I've covered those as far as why you would have an agenda. Despite that compelling information I just gave you, and everybody that's listening saying, yes, oh my gosh, got to have an agenda, got to have an agenda. No more than 37% of meetings in the US use agendas. So that 100% of you that I'm saying you got to have an agenda and you're nodding emphatically, you're either in a very special group or some of you are lying, because 63% of meetings don't have agendas in the US. Here's another one. It relates to some of the things I've already talked about. Participants come prepared to the meeting. They need to have read the agenda, review the pre-reads, gather the data information that may be needed during that meeting. Please verify the accuracy. Nothing more annoying than having information presented at a meeting and it turns out that it was incorrect or wrong. But if you're invited to that meeting and you're supposed to be there, it's on you as participant to be prepared to add value. Add your expertise. That's why you're there. A lot of good reasons there. Shorter meetings, more effective meetings, less need for follow-up, right? We've covered everything we needed to do in that one meeting. We don't need to have another meeting to talk about the meeting. So come prepared. The meeting leader helps with that, but part of the obligation too is on the participant to come prepared. Here's another one, another big one for effective meetings. Schedule shorter instead of longer meetings. I'm going to take a quick pause. I'm going to say it again. Schedule shorter instead of longer meetings. Here's why. One, time hates a vacuum. And we know that's true. So many people are pained by silence, and they're pained by the fact that, well, we blocked off an hour for this meeting. And Outlook is guilty of steering us in that direction as far as having half an hour meeting or an hour meeting. You don't have to do that. You can adjust the schedule. But we have this idea that time hates a vacuum. So if there's that time, we're going to figure out a way to fill it in. This is especially true if you don't have a stated purpose and you don't have an agenda. So again, these points that I'm making are all tied together. Shorter meetings encourage participants to stay on topic. Hey, we've only got a half an hour. We got a lot to cover, right? Encourages the meeting leader to stay on topic. We've got an agenda. We've got 30 minutes. I've got these goals for this meeting. We all have to leave here with these goals in mind, yeah, that tends to keep you on schedule. Here's the other thing. Here's the benefits, right? Less time in meetings. Time is money. We talked about that earlier. Morale. No one ever left a meeting that was short and effective and said, gosh, I hated spending that time. You schedule short meetings that are effective, I guarantee you the morale of your team is going to be up. And finally, and research proves this, productivity actually increases inside the meeting. We talked about that, but also outside the meeting. It's really what I just talked about. People leave that meeting saying, gosh, that typically would take an hour. We were able to cover all that in 35 minutes. That picks your morale up. People feel good about that. Productivity increases as a result. Now, here's what I can tell you. If you do these other things that I've mentioned, participants coming prepared, having an agenda, having goals, keeping it on task, having your meeting leader actually take leadership, these shorter meetings are going to naturally happen. So some quick data for you here. It's from a source called Live Career. Again, I trust this information. It's been vetted throughout the internet, and everything we see on the internet and here is true, of course. But again, this is vetted research. Attention spans in meetings. 52% of people lose attention in meetings after 30 minutes. 82% begin to lose attention after 40 minutes. What does that tell you about meeting length? Keep them shorter. 30 minutes is ideal, but at least if I know the meeting is only going to be 35 or 40 minutes and this meeting leader is known to keep them on task and keep them on time, I promise you, your attention level will be there after 35 or 40 minutes. But if you break your promise and you go beyond the time that you said that meeting would last, I can promise you, you're going to lose your audience. Here's the last point. And I have to kind of laugh about this one because I've gotten feedback before from leaders that say, oh my gosh, you don't need to do this. Why would you add this? Well, I firmly disagree. Close each meeting with a plan of action. Take a moment to review the decisions that were made in the meeting. Do a summary of the action owners and the deadlines. So, hey, Jim, you agreed to this. You said you would do this. You'd have it back to us next week. Jane, you said you would do this. Here's what you promised to us, and you'll have it done in 2 days, so on. Handling of parked items. If there was anything that you said, hey, we don't have time to talk about that right now, or that's not on the agenda at this point, address those in your closing. Maybe it's something to the effect of, hey, I know we parked a couple items, here they are. I'm going to go ahead and drop a meeting on the calendar for the people that's relevant to. Look for that in your email soon. Each person in that meeting also should leave knowing, one, the status of the stated purpose. So we start off saying by the goal of this meeting is to this. So everybody should know whether we met that goal, that stated purpose. And they should also know what's expected of them. Even if what expected is nothing, they should still know that I attended this meeting, I provided my input, there's nothing else expected of me at this point. A couple of really important reasons. One, fosters alignment. Everybody's hearing the same thing. Prevents misunderstandings and conflicts. Again, I didn't know I was supposed to do that. Well, yeah, you did, because we ended the meeting talking about that. It also encourages progress. Isn't that why we're meeting? We're looking to make progress on a particular item. By closing with the plan of action, it demonstrates firsthand the progress that's being made. A couple of housekeeping items for the person that's conducting the meeting or someone that's been assigned to these duties. Take notes and send afterwards. Again, it fosters alignment. It's a reminder of what's discussed. It documents parked items, informs non-attendees. So say someone was off on vacation or they were out of the office that day. They get a quick update on what was talked about in the meeting. It allows for progress tracking. So as you go through each meeting notes, you can see the progress that the particular project is making or the topic is making. It certainly prevents misunderstandings and conflicts because there's no denying what's in writing. So you're going to want to include things like dates of the meeting, attendees, meeting agenda, discussion summary, questions and answers provided if they were pertinent to the topic at hand, action items, owners, and deadlines, and important ideas, general notes, and parked items. All of that should be included in your notes that you send afterwards. Here's some what I call miscellaneous meeting minutia. I chose those words because they're difficult to say. But beyond that, this is important too. If you're going to have food, order it well in advance. Don't wait till the morning of. Order it a day or so in advance so it gets there on time. Allow time for the food setup. Meeting starts at 11. but you've got food coming in. How about have that food get there at 10:30? Set it up in the room. That way at 11, you're ready to go. Have all your technology ready. Is it not annoying to go to a meeting? It starts at 11 and the person at 11 o'clock is just now setting up the laptop or the projector, whatever it is. Yeah, don't do that. That's a waste of people's time. Put handouts in front of attendees before you start. Don't waste the time during the meeting of handing things out and having to go around the room and everybody passes it out. If you're going to have a handout, especially if you're going to go over it early, have that in front of your attendees. And then finally, start on time and end on time. People like that. You're going to have much more active meeting participation in effective meetings if you do that, if you do those things. So here's what we talked about real quick. We talked about the fact that there's just a proliferation and cost of ineffective meetings. There's way too much of that. We talked about the value of and the need for effective meetings. We put a true dollar value on that. We went through the characteristics of an effective meeting, the things before, during, and after. And then finally, we just went over that miscellaneous list of items that make your meetings better. Went through this topic quickly. I know that. Again, that's your cue to reach out to me at hrkyle.com with questions and to discuss the topic further. Otherwise, by the way, that wraps up our exploration of effective meeting strategies. Now get ready for an insightful journey in our second segment. We have a very special guest from Kenya joining us to share her international experiences. So stay tuned for a fascinating conversation. Before we jump into that, let's take a short break.
Are you a business owner looking to build a thriving team? Or perhaps a job seeker on a quest for your dream career? Look no further than HR Kyle. HR Kyle is your trusted partner for all things human resources. We're not just about services, we're about success. For businesses, HR Kyle offers tailored HR solutions from talent acquisition to compliance support. We're here to help your team flourish. And for the job seekers, HR Kyle provides personalized career guidance and direction that only a seasoned HR professional can offer. We'll help you find that perfect job match. Don't settle for less. Choose HR Kyle and unlock success today. Visit us at www.hrkyle.com. HR Kyle, unlocking potential, empowering careers, transforming business.
Welcome back to the HR Kyle podcast in segment 2. And you know, I say this every week, and this week is really, truly no different. This is my favorite segment of the show. Now, in this segment, we're honored to have a very special guest joining us from Kenya. So let's give a warm welcome to Jillian, who's going to be bringing her substantial global experience to our discussion today. Jillian, it's fantastic to have you on the HR Kyle podcast.
Hi, Kyle. It's a pleasure to be here today. I'm looking forward to everything you're going to talk about.
Wonderful. And I'll tell you, I know our listeners are looking forward to hearing our discussion. So, Jillian, let's start off today. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Jillian Chepchirchir Moindi. I am Kenyan. On a personal note, I would describe myself as an open-minded and honest person who tries to be ethical and trustworthy in everything I do. I find joy in learning new concepts and finding new opportunities. And I'm also passionate about animal care and giving back to the society through the knowledge and experience I have. Professionally, I am a content creator and blogger at Horizon Search, which is a digital media platform that offers insights and thought-provoking content on entrepreneurship, innovation, and creative pursuits from leaders around the globe. I have a background in animal science, and I specialized in the general care and management of animals. Throughout my career, I've had the opportunity to work for clients from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Israel, the US, and now I have a contract with Horizon Search, which is in Canada. I'm thrilled to be here today and share insights on my career progression.
Wonderful, Jillian. We're certainly happy to have you. You mentioned in your introduction there that your degree is in animal science, but yet your work involves a pretty high focus in product management and marketing. Tell us a little bit how your career evolved to this point.
Certainly. When I completed my degree in animal science, my initial path aligned with my passion for animals and the environment. My course involved a lot of research and writing. Around the same time, a friend of mine told me that people were earning money writing for other people, and that is when I started offering writing and research services as a freelancer. This was not when I completed my degree. This was around in my second year, but my profession of writing now started immediately after I completed my degree in animal science. Initially, I started with scientific fields such as biology, chemistry, botany, zoology, among others. However, I started getting clients who wanted content for other fields as well, including technology, lifestyle, communication, business, and marketing, among others. This is where my transition into product management and marketing began. In the process, I have equipped myself with the skills needed to bridge the gap between my expertise and market demand. It's been a rewarding journey that has enabled me to bring a unique perspective to the intersection of science and business and marketing. Sorry.
Wonderful. And I appreciate you walking us through your journey. Each person we talk to each week seems to have a unique career journey that they take, and certainly yours is no different. Now, you've lived in Kenya, but as you mentioned again in your intro, your work has really taken you around the world, especially from a virtual standpoint. What are some things that you've noticed are the same from country to country? And what have you noticed is unique relative to your work around the world?
The things that I noticed are same from Kenya and working in the other countries is the aspect of professionalism. You know, I have to be punctual, I have to communicate effectively, I have to offer high quality and valuable work. Also teamwork, I have to like collaborate. Collaboration is like a global norm in the professional world. Working effectively with colleagues, sharing ideas, and contributing to team goals are essential aspects of workplace culture worldwide. Also, advancements in technology. I realize that most countries that I have worked for, I do a lot of meetings, Zoom calls using my phone. I use a lot of softwares and tools to make work easier. And I think basically those are the things that I really found to be same from country to country. On the other side, I've found that there are so many differences. Let's first start with the African region and the other countries like the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and Israel and those other countries like Canada. They're specifically more compliant to employment laws and regulations, such as employee rights. You know, I get paid for extra time I work when I work for clients from those other countries, but which is totally different from what happens here in Kenya. I get vacation payment, health, and things like that, benefits. Also, they are so focused about growth and development while working for my clients in the US and also in Canada. I realized that I was exposed to a lot of growth and development. I attended a lot of workshops and frequent work meetings, taught how to use the best systems in the market, you know, the new advancements. Also, these other countries use collaborative tools of working together. For example, things like Slack, Notion, Wix. And then there's also the leadership aspect in organizations. Like here in Kenya, most of the time I deal with someone who's immediately above me. While working for my clients in the US, normally it's usually I talk to them directly. I don't have to follow a certain hierarchical structure structure with formal, communication channels. I also realized that other countries keep up with new trends, no matter the cost. Like for Horizon Search, I say that we're using the SEMrush tool, which costs around $800 per month, which is quite expensive. And I think here it will be such a big deal, but there they really focus on, they're willing to invest as long as it's bringing something. Yeah, so I think those are the things that I've really noticed are different in the Kenyan market and in the market abroad.
No, very good summary. And again, for those in the audience who maybe aren't familiar with some of the assignments and global opportunities that you've been a part of, one thing that stands out to me in your background is that you've been very adventurous in your career pursuits. In pursuing your bachelor's degree, you took academic trips throughout Kenya to visit various organizations, and then you held an internship that really exposed you to all facets of business operation. Beyond that, you also spent 7 years of your career doing freelance work. So first off, where does that adventurous spirit come from? And secondly, what have you learned about yourself and what you're capable of?
Thank you so much, Kyle. The adventurous spirit in my career pursuits stem from a combination of curiosity, a desire for continuous learning, and a passion for exploring new possibilities. I believe that exposing myself to diverse experiences not only enriches my skills, but also provides a broader perspective on the world and its opportunities. Through my academic trips in Kenya, I discovered the wealth of knowledge embedded in real world experiences. Visiting various organizations allowed me to see the practical applications of my studies and opened my eyes to different industries and their unique challenges. Also, my internship experience, I was exposed to all facets of business operations, which was a pivotal moment. It fueled my interest in understanding how different parts of a business function together to achieve common goals. This exposure laid the foundation for my later ventures into product management and marketing, where a holistic understanding of business operations is essential. 7 years spent during freelance work were also very transformative. Freelancing demanded adaptability, self discipline, and the ability to navigate a constantly changing landscape. It taught me to be resourceful, manage my time effectively, and develop a diverse skill set to meet the demands of various clients and projects. Through these experiences, I've learned that I thrive in dynamic and challenging environments. I've discovered a resilience within myself to adapt to new situations, learn quickly, and apply my skills in innovative ways. The diversity in my career journey has not only broadened my professional capabilities, but it has also deepened my understanding of the strengths that I have and areas that I need to grow. Moreover, the adventurous spirit has fueled a sense of fulfillment and a purpose in my career. It has allowed me to contribute meaningfully in different roles and industries, and it has shaped my belief in the importance of continuous learning and embracing change as an integral part of personal and professional growth.
Julian, you hit on so many themes there that we talk about week in and week out here on the HR Kyle podcast, and just having that fearlessness and continuous learning and challenging yourself and speaking to that message that really that's the only way that you can grow as a professional. So thank you for sharing your story and your perspective on that. To wrap up today's session, Jillian, what's some lessons that you would share with our listeners who want to push beyond their comfort zones but have a fear of the unknown?
Pushing beyond your comfort zone can be a transformative journey, and overcoming the fear of the unknown is a crucial step in that process. Um, uh, um, it is important to remember that growth often happens outside your comfort zone. Embrace the journey and don't let the fear of the unknown hold you back from realizing your full potential. I can give you some lessons and tips that might resonate with the listeners looking to embark on such a journey. For example, you should embrace uncertainty as an opportunity. Rather than viewing the unknown as a threat, see it as an opportunity for growth and learning. Many of the most significant achievements come from stepping into uncharted territory. Cultivate a growth mindset. Adopt a mindset that sees challenges as opportunities to learn and improve. Understand that skills can be developed and challenges are a natural part of the learning process. In addition, it is also important to seek support and mentorship. In your career journey, it is important to connect with individuals who have navigated similar paths or possess relevant experience. Their guidance and insights can be invaluable in providing a roadmap and reassurance. It is also important to learn from your failures. Setbacks and failures are part of any journey beyond the comfort zone. Instead of seeing them as roadblocks, view them as opportunities to learn, to adapt, and to improve. Lastly, I would urge them to develop resilience. Cultivating resilience by acknowledging that challenges will arise, but your ability to bounce back and persevere is a key factor in the long-term success.
Oh, very valid points. And again, things that we've talked about in previous episodes of the HR Kyle podcast. And so much of it, too, Jillian, that you spoke about there is just about your attitude and keeping a positive attitude and pushing forward, realizing that you're going to have ups and downs and you just have to push forward through those. And as you said, learn from them.
Yeah.
That wraps up segment 2 of the HR Kyle podcast. And I want to send out a big thank you to our incredible guest, Jillian, for sharing her valuable insights from Kenya. Jillian, we appreciate having you on the show today.
Thank you so much, Kyle, for hosting me today. It's been such a pleasure.
Well, folks, as we conclude this episode, I want to thank all of our listeners as well for tuning in today. And if you haven't yet, I encourage you to subscribe so that you can stay current on our upcoming episodes. Until next time, this is HR Kyle signing off saying, keep striving for your fullest potential. Take care.
Well, that's a wrap for today's episode of the HR Kyle podcast. We hope you found our discussion valuable and filled with insights that you can apply in your professional journey. Whether you're a business leader aiming to foster a thriving workplace or a job seeker looking to carve out your own path, remember that HR Kyle is the compass that can guide you towards success. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and share it with your network. We're committed to being your trusted source for HR wisdom, and we look forward to having you back with us for our next episode. Remember, in the world of HR and professional growth, there's always room for progress. Be sure to visit our website at hrkyle.com. That's hrkyle.com to learn more about how we can help you meet your business and professional goals. So until next time, this is HR Kyle signing off. Stay motivated, stay informed, and keep reaching for those career goals. Music provided by bensound.com. That's bensound.com.